My granddaughter got into my car after school, and I knew something was wrong before she said a single word. She didn't look angry. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even sad. Her face was empty, like someone had turned the lights off inside her. She's 15. I asked her how her day was. She shrugged. I asked if something happened. She said no. We drove in silence for a while, the kind of silence that feels heavier than noise. Then, without looking at me, she said something that hasn't stopped echoing in my head since. "Grandpa, does it ever feel like none of this matters? Like no matter what you do, it doesn't really mean anything?" My name is George. I'm 82 years old. I've lived through wars, recessions, family losses, broken dreams, and personal failures I wouldn't wish on anyone. And her question shook me, because I've asked myself that same question more times than I can count. The only difference is this. She's standing at the beginning of her life, staring forward, and I'm standing near the end, looking back. And somewhere between those two viewpoints, I think I finally understand something important. We live in a world obsessed with making an impact. Everyone wants to matter. Everyone wants to be remembered. Everyone wants proof that their life meant something. I see it everywhere. People chase careers not because they love the work, but because they think it will make them important. They post constantly, waiting for validation from strangers. They measure their worth by followers, titles, applause. And I get it. I really do, because I chased it too. But after 8 decades on this planet, here's what I've learned. The things that truly matter almost never feel important while they're happening. Let me tell you about my neighbor, Margaret.
She lived 3 houses down from us for 42 years. Margaret was a 3rd-grade school teacher. She never married. She didn't have children of her own. She taught at the same small elementary school her entire career. When she retired, the school held a modest ceremony in the gymnasium. Maybe 30 people showed up. No cameras, no long speeches, just a plaque and a bouquet of flowers. 2 years later, Margaret passed away peacefully in her sleep. At her funeral, I expected a small turnout, but the church was full. So full, people were standing in the aisles. One by one, people stood up to speak. A doctor said Margaret was the first adult who ever made him feel smart. A woman who ran a nonprofit said Margaret taught her to read when everyone else had given up. A 50-year-old man stood beside his daughter and said he became a teacher because of her. Story after story, lives redirected, paths changed, all because of a woman who thought she was just doing her job. Margaret never tried to change the world. She never chased recognition. She showed up every day and paid attention to the children in front of her. She remembered their names. She noticed when they struggled. She stayed late to help one child understand fractions or spelling. Nothing glamorous, nothing headline-worthy. And yet, decades later, her impact is still alive, passing through people she never even met. I think we've misunderstood what it means to matter. We think significance comes from being seen, from being known, from being remembered by crowds. But life doesn't work that way. Life is built on small moments between people. A conversation that shifts someone's perspective. A kindness offered at exactly the wrong or right moment. Showing up when it's inconvenient. Listening when you'd rather talk. These moments never feel important when they're happening. They feel ordinary, forgettable, easy to overlook. When I was 39, I went through one of the darkest periods of my life. My business was failing. Money was tight. I was drinking too much and sleeping too little. I felt like a failure. One night, I sat in my car outside a bar, trying to decide whether I should go in. That's when a man named Tom knocked on my window. We barely knew each other, had met maybe twice. He said he was heading to get coffee and asked if I wanted to come along. No speech, no advice, just coffee. We sat in a diner for 2 hours. He didn't try to fix anything. He didn't give me motivation or wisdom. He talked about his kids, a book he was reading, a trip he took years ago.
Somewhere in that very ordinary conversation, something inside me quieted. I didn't go into that bar. I went home. I don't even remember what we talked about, but that moment mattered. It changed the direction of my night, maybe even my life. Tom probably forgot about it the next day. That's how meaning works. It's rarely dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. You will never get a notification telling you that something you did changed someone's life. Most of the time, you'll never know. You'll do something that feels small, and it will be everything to someone else. Then you'll walk away thinking it didn't matter. My wife, Elena, used to write letters. Real letters. Stamps. Envelopes. She wrote to our children when they were away at college, to cousins, to neighbors, to old friends she hadn't seen in years. I used to tease her. "People have phones," I'd say. "Just call them." She'd smile and keep writing. After she passed away, I found boxes of letters people had written to us. Almost every letter mentioned her notes, how they had kept them for years, how they reread them during hard times, how much they meant. She wasn't trying to make an impact. She was just reaching out, but her quiet presence shaped people in ways she never knew. I wish someone had told me this when I was younger. Your life does not need to be extraordinary to matter. In fact, chasing extraordinary often destroys what actually gives life meaning. The pressure to stand out, to prove yourself, to be impressive, it crushes people. It makes them believe that simple lives aren't enough, that being present for your family isn't meaningful unless it's documented, that honesty, kindness, consistency don't count unless they're visible. But here's the truth. Almost everything holding this world together is done by people whose names will never be remembered. Parents staying up with sick children, workers showing up and doing their jobs with integrity, friends checking in when something feels off, volunteers serving meals, cleaning parks, visiting hospitals, people who vote, who recycle, who return shopping carts. Small, ordinary acts that keep everything from falling apart. Want to know if you matter? Look at the people in front of you. Are you present with them? Are you honest? Are you kind when it's inconvenient? Do you keep your promises? Do you see people when they feel invisible? These questions won't put you on magazine covers. They won't make you famous, but they will decide whether your life meant something. I've also learned something painful. I wasted years trying to prove myself, trying to win silent competitions, holding on to grudges, letting resentment harden my heart.
I thought revenge meant strength. All it did was steal time. Years I could have spent loving better, listening more, letting go sooner. Revenge doesn't ruin the other person. It ruins your days quietly. It takes moments you'll never get back. I lost years before I realized that no victory is worth the cost of your peace. Lately, I think a lot about my granddaughter's question. Does any of this matter? And I realize the problem isn't the answer. It's the way we ask the question. When we ask if we matter, we're usually asking if we matter in a measurable way, if we're impressive, influential, exceptional. Except meaning doesn't work like that. Meaning is quiet. It's knowing that your presence or absence changes real lives in real ways. When my grandson was 7, he was terrified of water, wouldn't go near a pool. One summer, I spent 3 weeks standing in the shallow end with him, 15 minutes a day, no pressure, no lessons, just standing there. By the end of summer, he was swimming. He's 23 now. He probably doesn't remember those afternoons, but I remember them, because if I hadn't shown up, patiently, consistently, that fear might have followed him. That mattered. Not because it was impressive, but because it was real. As I get older, it's becoming clearer. Titles fade, achievements blur. People forget what you accomplished faster than you think, but they never forget how you made them feel. They remember if you showed up, if you listened, if you noticed them. Last week, I was at the grocery store. The young woman at the checkout looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, moving slowly. I could have paid and left. Instead, I asked how she was, really asked. She hesitated, then tears welled up. Her mother was sick. She was working double shifts. We talked for 3 minutes. I told her she was doing something meaningful, that her mother was lucky to have her. As I walked away, she thanked me twice. Did that change the world? No. Did it matter to her in that moment? I think it did. So here's my answer, to my granddaughter and maybe to you. Yes, what you do matters, just not in the way you've been taught to believe. It matters in small moments, quiet choices, when no one is watching. It matters when you choose patience over anger, truth when lies would be easier, kindness without witnesses. Your life doesn't need to be a spectacle. It needs to be honest, present, human. That's harder than it sounds, because it requires attention, care when you're tired, presence when it's uncomfortable. But that's where meaning lives, not in the spotlight, but in the steady, quiet work of being a decent human being. I'm 82 years old. I don't have many years left, and when I think about what I want my life to mean, I don't think about awards or recognition. I think about the people I loved well, the moments I was truly present, the times I helped without expecting credit. Those are the things that last. If any of this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And remember this, you don't have to be extraordinary to matter. You just have to care. Thank you.